brought between 5 and 10 centimeters of snow. So you're going to have to put on the parka, pack your patience. And now we're dealing with the low pressure system having gone away, still some snow obviously left behind, but now we have snow squalls that have set up behind the low pressure system there. So these squalls, I'm going to check in with Tom in just a moment to see what kind of impact that's having on drive around the GTA at this time. But there are two bands that seem to be setting up very well across these areas to the north and west of the city. Snow squall warnings and watches are in place, and they're widespread throughout Lake Simcoe all the way back to Lake Huron shorelines and getting awfully close, but not quite into Toronto. But Guelph's included, Orangeville's included, and we also have some wind chill warnings in place as well because of the cold that is continuing to stay with us. However, snow totals will be highest up toward Midwestern Ontario and the Bruce Peninsula, 5 to 15 centimeters of snow with obviously those bands coming through. And we do have some brisk winds to contend with, and that's why we were mentioning making sure that you're dressed appropriately for the conditions. The winds will certainly be an issue. Let's turn it over to Tom and find out what kind of impact those squalls are having on drive around the GTA, Tom. Any impact at all?
On range, well, I hope it gets better.
It's up to interpretation, I suppose. 7-day forecast in Toronto. We stay cold right through until Thursday. We start to turn the corner a little bit by the weekend, but there is another system coming in that will bring us another shot of snow Saturday and Sunday, in fact. So more snow on the way. 7-day forecast in Hamilton. Another couple of cold days ahead.
Go to the west.
We still have some very strong winds coming out of the northwest. And those winds are helping to create some massive squalls that are affecting people out on the roads. Looking at our peak wind gusts here this morning, Toronto 67, 80 in Port Weller, Collingwood a 60k wind gust, and winds are down here to the 52 range. So very strong winds behind our low pressure system, which came through with a fair amount of snow, between 5 and 10 centimeters generally. But now we're dealing with snow squalls, and some of these snow squalls are certainly putting down very high snow totals, and high snow rates are coming with these, especially with this one band right here just to the north of Mount Forest and through the Orangeville area, just maybe around Caledon and Newmarket, getting some decent squalls. We have watches and warnings in place with regard to these areas. Again, Guelph included, Caledon, Uxbridge, up toward Barrie, a pretty decent band coming through that region. And we've got the cold to contend with as well. So we have, in some cases, the potential to pull out 5 to 15 centimeters of snow up into the Midwest of the province, or Midwestern portions of the province, up toward the Bruce. And there are some very strong winds continuing, upwards of 40, 50, 60 kilometers per hour at times. So we'll watch those winds to continue. And let's turn it over to Tom and find out what our roads are like and what kind of impact these squalls are having. Tom? Well, it stays cold at least for the next couple to few days around the GTA. Temperatures in the minus 20s, that's how it's going to feel. It gets slightly better by Thursday and Friday. However, Saturday and Sunday, we have the return of, you guessed it, more snowfall on the way for the weekend ahead.
This weather segment has
that sort of thing. Getting around is going to be difficult because of the cold. So we've got a few factors: cold, wind, as well as in some cases some snow squalls that appear to be shutting down roads. And Tom will give us an update on that in just a moment. I want to bring you up to date with where we're seeing those bands and how strong they're appearing on radar. You can see some very nicely defined bands here around the Barrie area and up toward Orangeville, Caledon. Mount Forest just seems to be right on the cusp of it all, but back up and toward Lake Huron. Those are the ones that seem to be causing the most problems, and there are snow squall warnings and watches from Environment Canada. So some of this snow is reaching down into the GTA, causing some problems. Then, of course, you've had the snow from the actual system itself. That clipper brought between 5 and 10 centimeters, so that was a problem. And then, of course, you've got the wind. It is still staying very cold. Temperatures feeling like the minus 20s today quite easily. You've got to bundle up appropriately. Some of these areas to the, say, toward the Bruce Peninsula, say Goderich, up toward Kincardine and Owen Sound, we'll see between 5 and 15 centimeters, and maybe down toward Hanover as well. So certainly these areas are going to be seeing a lot of snowfall in localized areas. The winds are strong too, Tom. We're going to have to be bundling up appropriately for these types of conditions, but you're seeing some major impact that you're seeing on the roads, right?
Well,
fun and games of winter. 7-day forecast In Toronto, it looks like this. The next round of snow, despite the squalls, and those are very localized. The system snow here Saturday, 5 to 10 centimeters, probably even a Saturday-Sunday event is what it looks like at this point. 7-day forecast for Hamilton. We stay cold for the next couple of days. We warm up a little bit, at least a moderation in temps by the end of the week.
Go to theweathernetwork.com.
We have seen some strong peak wind gusts today. Now the winds from the northwest, eventually they will shift to more of a westerly direction, but we're going to likely see squalls for some time across southern Ontario. In the case of Toronto, we saw a wind gust this morning as high as 67 kilometers per hour. That wind is taking the waters that are still open on the lakes, because in many cases we have a lot of ice, but obviously there's still enough available moisture to pick that up and bring it all the way in to the GTA. Environment Canada has issued some snow squall watches and some warnings with this, because there are going to be some areas that locally see quite a bit of snow. And we've heard about road closures from this. Some cases, snow-covered roads, slowing traffic down, maybe just track bare areas at times. And so it's pretty dicey out there. We have wind chill warnings in place in some areas. Again, overall, the cold stays with us for at least the next couple of days. And locally, we'll see as high as between 5 and 15 centimeters of snow the further north and west you go from the city of Toronto. But Toronto itself stands to pick up possibly another 2 to 5 centimeters of snow, Tom. So that's obviously going to be causing problems. I know you're seeing a lot of it on your traffic cameras right now.
Yeah.
Well, it stays cold at least for the next couple of days, Tom. Looking at these wind chill values, as you can see in the feels like here, in the minus 20s. It does get a little bit better for Thursday and Friday, but at this point it appears that there is another storm system that's set to make its way toward the GTA for Saturday and Sunday, and that one appears to bring between 5 and 10 centimeters of snow. Tough commute today. I'm sure it took you longer than usual to get to your destination because of the snow that we saw from the system. However, the system snow is moving away from the GTA, but guess what it's leaving behind? A lot of cold air, some strong winds, and those strong winds are resulting in, you guessed it, snow squalls. And there are some watches and warnings posted for these. In some cases, these squalls are putting down very heavy amounts of snow in a very short amount of time. They tend to be fairly narrow, but once you're affected by these, the conditions really deteriorate quite quickly. There are two bands, actually it looks like a third one now wants to try to develop down toward north of Grand Bend around Bayfield, but this is the one that's bringing about a lot of active weather, and it's even stretching right into Toronto, and that's really the concern that we're seeing obviously for those population centers there. Snow squall warnings and watches are in place, and they extend down toward Guelph, Caledon, Orangeville, Uxbridge, Barrie, all included in this, and then some warnings and watches remaining. Likely going to see that for quite some time. In terms of the wind chills actually extend all the way across the north, but also for a portion of the south as well. So those areas are definitely seeing some really cold air. And I think we're going to go over to Kevin, who is live on location this morning. Kevin, where are you, and what are the conditions like where you are? Yeah, I was just breaking up a little bit there. Thanks very much, Kevin, for that update around Pearson. And over to Tom right now. And Tom, he makes a good point. I mean, the snow, being temperatures are so cold, that snow is fairly light right now. Well, certainly we have more snow on the way. It'll be the weekend. Between now and then, it stays cold. We see it a little bit better on Thursday and Friday, but overall, waiting for the next storm system to arrive. It'll be cold, wind chills in the minus 20s for the next couple of days. So if you are, as Tom was mentioning, in the downtown core, and you're one of the pedestrians, you nearly leave the day and you are having to bundle up, you've got to bring everything with you. Make sure you've got some good footwear, because at times this can be very icy. Cold conditions remain until the midweek. And then
go to theweathernetwork.com.
The snow squalls are still treacherous out there, and in many cases, the blowing snow, the reduced visibility in because of the wind, but also because of the snow squall itself. We do have some bands now. It appears that this main band is somewhat breaking up. However, if you're in going up towards Sauble Beach, areas like Port Elgin, all the way down, you can see the band through Orangeville, Shelburne, Caledon, and even right into, yes, the heart of downtown Toronto, getting hit by squalls, and up toward Barrie as well. So some of these areas are going to be seeing a lot of snowfall, and certainly poor road conditions because of the system snow that came through overnight, and now on top of it, adding insult to injury, we've got some snow squalls. Watches and warnings are in place all through this region in blue and white, although this is the area that is under watch because we don't have any active squalls, but with a shift in wind direction, it won't take much to see squalls developing. We do have wind chill warnings in place as well, so it remains cold. In some cases, locally, we'll see 5 to 15 centimeters west of the city. City of Toronto probably see another 2 to 5 centimeters of snow. Strong winds out there as well. And we're going to go to Kevin Yard, who is on location, and he's bearing the brunt of all of that wind. What does it feel like out there, Kev? Thanks very much, Kevin. Well, Kevin mentioned that the winds were at about 60, gusting to 60 earlier. Now we're seeing gusts as high as 44 kilometers per hour in Toronto. So certainly some strong winds out there, mostly from the west-northwest. And in some cases, we'll see these gusts possibly reaching that 50, 60 kilometer per hour range at times throughout the day. The winds will shift direction from northwest to more of a west-southwest direction, so areas like Parry Sound could be in line to see some squalls as well. Let's go over to Tom and find out what our traffic is like. Obviously, there's an impact being felt, but how bad is it? You'd almost think it was winter out there. Yes, we have cold temperatures remaining for at least the next couple of days. It gets better Thursday, Friday. However, on Saturday, there's indication now with our computer models that another system is on its way. Timing-wise, perhaps this is a good thing because it's not happening during the weekday, but Saturday and Sunday, another 5 to 10 centimeters of snow likely on the way, and you can see that being represented here on the 7-day forecast for Hamilton. Still cold next couple of days. And then it left behind some strong winds. You're going to need to pull out the parka and keep it with you, likely for at least the next couple of days. Temperatures staying cold, and the winds have been gusting at times 50, 60 kilometers per hour behind the system. That is resulting in some snow squall activity. And in some cases, these snow squalls, although as we look at our latest image here, it seems to be breaking up somewhat, but still putting down quite a bit of snow, and it reaches all the way down into Toronto. Around Brampton and Georgetown getting hit particularly hard at this point, and also up toward Barrie, another decent squall band that is putting down a lot of snowfall and reducing visibility and obviously causing some problems on the roads. We do have snow squall warnings now. We've upgraded these to warnings up toward Wyerton and the south side of Georgian Bay. So these regions, and now wind chill warnings all throughout southern Ontario. The winds are going to be strong today. It's going to result, of course, with the cold temperatures, wind chills in the minus 20s. So you'd have to dress for those conditions. 5 to 15 centimeters north and west of the city. Toronto likely to see another 2, 3, maybe 4 centimeters of snow. And Tom, this is causing problems, especially just to the, well, around the GTA, but around, looks like Georgetown and Brampton. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are those the areas being hardest hit right now?
Yeah, and they've been having a hard time keeping those roads calm. Range, how's that look?
I need to take a breath after all that. Wow, there's a lot going on. We have wind chills in the minus 20s, likely for the next couple of days. Bit better on Thursday, Friday, but look what happens on Saturday. And we might even extend that icon of snow into the Sunday forecast as well, as we get a better handle on what looks to be 5 to 10 centimeters of snow on the way for the weekend. For the time being, though, cold temperatures, dress for wind chills in the minus 20s.
Go to the Weather Network.
Now that the system snow has moved along, we are left with some strong winds from the northwest. We have seen peak wind gusts this morning as high as 67 kilometers per hour, as is the case for Toronto. And there are snow squall warnings in place from the Bruce Peninsula down toward Grand Bend. Guelph is included. Caledon, Uxbridge, toward Barrie and Innisfil, all included. And there may be, at times, upwards of 15 centimeters of snow to come in these snow squalls. So that's really what we're dealing with now, as the wind is helping to bring about some bands of localized snow, and it's very cold out there. We have wind chill warnings in place for many areas from the southwest to the southeast and up toward the northeast as well of the province. So strong winds will certainly be the issue. You've got to dress for conditions that are very cold today in the minus 20s right across the board. So definitely a cold one. Kevin is out there braving the elements. What has your day been like so far, Kevin? Thanks so much, Kevin. We'll keep checking the phone. Maybe it'll get canceled. Maybe not. We have the 7-day forecast for you in Toronto. So cold, we talked about that. It is going to remain cold for at least the next couple of days. Want to draw your attention? Draw your eye to Saturday. We might even extend this icon to represent the snow on Sunday as well, because it could be a 2-day snow event, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow on the way for the weekend with another storm system. So that one bears watching, and we're, of course, continuing to watch it behind the scenes as well to see what kinds of snow totals we can pull out of that one. 7-day forecast in Hamilton. Very cold next couple of days. Gets a little bit better for Thursday and Friday, with temperatures feeling like the minus teens by then.
This weather segment has
Wind chill warnings are widespread, so you do need the parka, the hood, you need the full 9 yards, frankly, because temperatures are cold, feeling like in the minus 20s today quite easily, with the strength of the wind, which now has shifted to the north and west. And with that, we have ended up getting some pretty decent winds, and also as a result of that, some snow squalls. So now warnings extend from Barrie, Lake Simcoe through Uxbridge, Newmarket, Caledon, all the way up into the Bruce Peninsula and down toward Goderich, just north of Grand Bend. We've got some snow squalls that are possibly going to put down between 5 and 15 centimeters of snow between now and tomorrow morning. Across the 401 corridor, you add a couple more centimeters of snow on top of what we've already seen, and that causes problems, obviously. Wind chill warnings, I mentioned how widespread they are, from London through Ottawa and all the way up into northeast Ontario. Very strong winds indeed, and we're going to have to dress for conditions today in the minus 20s with that wind. One person I know who's always dressed very warmly and always appropriate for the conditions, Kevin Yard. Kevin, what is it like out there? What's that snow like?
Studio.
Thanks very much, Kevin. And, Kevin made a good point. We reached our daytime high earlier today, so early this morning, in fact. So now the temperatures are dropping and will remain in that territory for the next couple of days at least. It gets a little bit milder, although mild being wind chills in the minus teens. It'll feel milder compared to the minus 20 wind chills that we're expecting across the GTA for the next couple of days.